Hey everybody, it's Jess here at Village Green, and spring is officially here and it is time to start planting. So we are going to make a shade container garden today. So oftentimes, people ask me, what can I put in my shade pots? It seems like there's only a lot of plants that like, shade that have just foliage on them. So we're going to do a nice mixture today that's going to give your shade container garden a lot of color. So there's really three essential elements to container gardening. You want to do three different things. You want a thriller, that's your plant that's going to go in the center. That's going to be the tallest plant, that's going to add height. So you want the thriller. You want a filler, that's a real staple item like a begonia, a geranium, something that just gives you a nice fill. And then you want your spiller, the plant that's going to trail and cascade over your pot. So really those three essential items are what make a great container garden. So I'm going to first start with my thriller. This is an elephant ear. These work great in sun or shade, but we're going to use it in the shade pot. It's actually called coffee cups. So when this plant matures, the leaves kind of pucker up and look like a little cup, hence the name coffee cups. So I'm going to take this out. I've got my container already filled with potting soil. So I'm just going to rough up the roots a little bit. And for those of you who have ever followed me, I love doing asymmetrical gardens. I don't like doing everything super structured. I think it looks more natural and organic when you do it this way. So I've got our coffee cups elephant ear in the back here. Then I'm going to add a plant that acts more as a filler. One of the staple items, which is just this tuberous begonia. Again, I'm going to rough up the roots on the bottom here. And I'm going to pop that in the back right next to the elephant ear. Okay, so another awesome plant that is one of my favorite is this trailing plum coleus. This will work in sun or shade. You see the hot pink and the black in these leaves. It's just awesome. I'm going to stick this in the center of the pot. Because it's a trailing coleus, it's going to go all over. And when this plant matures and it gets, fully grown, it's going to be an awesome pop of color. So again, roughing up those roots. Putting that right in the center. I'm going to add another plant in the back that loves shade. This is a maidenhair fern. Just a nice green foliage. I do think it's super important in containers that you mix both flowers and foliage together. Just think it adds nice texture. Oftentimes people ask, like, boy, that seems like a lot of plants to put in a container, and you can do less. You can start with smaller pots. I personally like instant gratification. I want a container to look awesome within 2 weeks after planting it. So I pack it in and I just have to water more. This next plant I'm adding in there is another foliage plant. This is called a Rex begonia. It just has these awesome, great colors on the leaves, and it continues to get larger and mounding. And on the side, I'm using one of my personal favorites, dragon wing begonia. This plant is going to act like a spiller. So this plant, because I'm planting it with the leaves facing out, it's going to cascade over the side of the pot. And then finally, the last item is another foliage item. And this is just a standard ivy, an English ivy. So I'm going to pop that in the front. I'm going to fill her in with some more soil. Then you want to make sure to water these in relatively heavy so that the plants settle in. And you're all set with a shade container.